Hi everyone, it's Fiona here from fionamarks.com and it's Friday. It's the 22nd of October. Here's my Friday 5 newsletter. This week, all of our Vedic astrology planets came out of retrograde or are now all out of retrograde. So it is about beginning to move forward, and it makes me think about moving forward, the path that we're on, and that is why this week's newsletter is all about the 4 paths. Model from Vedic philosophy, from yogic science. I don't know where you may have come in touch with this model. It was something that I came across in Yoga Ayurveda. I thought it was a really insightful model. It helped me a lot straight away, and I was delighted to see how it integrates into Vedic astrology. And it really helps the astrologer be able to talk to people about where their paths are aligned, where progress can be made, where to expect difficulties, but to keep going anyway. It's a very useful tool. So let's really quickly recap the 4 paths in case you haven't come across this model before. Basically, it's saying that there are like these 4 pursuits or needs or goals that we all have here on planet Earth. Number 1, we have to look after the body. So we're going to need to clothe, feed, shelter in order just to maintain the physicality of existence. We need to work to do that stuff. And then, of course, goal number 2, we've got our desires. This is a planet of fun and sensations, as well as everything else that it is. So there's certainly the opportunity here to fulfill one's desires. And then goal number 3, our inspirations, the things that we are called to do that are innate to our purpose and why we're here, our Dharma goals. And finally, the 4th path, everyone is here learning and evolving and enlightening themselves from the heaviness of suffering. So these 4 paths, they're all happening at the same time. Each of us have got our own ratio of which ones are more important or less highlighted in our life. And as we go through life at different times, some will be more emphasized and some will be less emphasized. So it's very nuanced. It's unique to each person. I love it. I think it's so helpful. And to give you a sense of that, pulling on the podcast from last week, all about what would your 20-year-old self love to know from Vedic astrology, I've got here for you 3 snippets about career. So the first one, snippet number 2, is just about how to identify those indicators in your chart around career. Snippet number 3 is looking at an example where the career is beautifully supported, and snippet number 4 is looking at a more mismatched example where each of the paths for each calling are a little bit out of alignment with each other and what that feels like. So I hope you enjoy those examples and it inspires you to think about your own life, where it flows easily, where you feel called, and where there are difficulties, and whether you should keep going and push through and apply one's effort, or whether that's time to step away. So it's really very helpful. And also finally, in snippet 5, there are tickets available for study hall. If you're on the apprenticeship and you want to ask some questions about the video lectures or whatever you're up to, grab a ticket for the sessions in November. And at the very end of November, we have an Astrolojam. We're going to see if we can predict what's going to happen to the future of a very famous person. Okay, that is the newsletter for the week. If you would like to understand your life path and how these 4 paths are in harmony or are competing in your life, why don't you book a session with me? There are buttons at the bottom here. You can book a new reading there on the left or on the right. If you've already had a reading with me, just grab yourself a follow-up session. And I will look forward to having that chat with you during the week. Okay, until then, stay well, and I'll see you next week. Bye.